Hello, first ever video review. I am the Namekian, a lifelong nerd that wants to provide family-friendly videos about various aspects of the geek culture. Today we are taking a look at the console debut of one of my favorite video game series, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance for the Gamecube. Developed by Intelligent Systems and published by Nintendo in 2005, Path of Radiance marks the 9th game in the series and the first title to receive a Western console release. Being unsure of its success in the US, the game had a somewhat limited release, but despite all that was overall well received. The title was even successful enough in the US to warrant a release of its direct sequel Radiant Dawn for the Wii in 2007. In addition to the two console releases, the Game Boy Advance currently has two titles, one just called Fire Emblem and Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones, which was released in 2003 and 2004 and are localized ports of the 7th and 8th games in the Fire Emblem series. Both games are very good and I'll get to them eventually. The DS also has one game called Shadow Dragon, released in 2009, which really isn't all that much fun as the other releases, but it is a remake of the first Fire Emblem game, so it is somewhat forgivable. There is another recent DS release Fire Emblem game called Heroes of Light and Magic, which is a remake of the second Fire Emblem game, but at this time there is no official US release date. This month, April 2012, will also see the release of the 11th game in the series called Awakening, but no word on a Western release quite yet. Everything isn't going great for the land of Tellius. Tension between the Bjark and the Lagus are at a boiling point. Unprovoked, the war-hungry Bjark king of Dain, Ashnard, decides to invade and conquer neighboring Bjark nation of Crimea. It is up to the hero and his band of mercenaries to help take back their homeland and defeat the Mad King Ashnard. Along the way, they become involved in matters far greater than just a struggle between two nations, and their journey turns into a rather epic tale. The game's main protagonist is a rookie mercenary named Ike, whose only real goal is to become a better fighter than his father. After proving ready to join the company, Ike quickly rises in rank, and during a skirmish with Dain troops, Ike makes a discovery that will become the second biggest job request the company will ever receive. Yeah, the story of Path of Radiance isn't anything overly new, but there is enough intrigue, mystery, and twists that it makes the game not only well worth the playthrough, but makes you want to progress as well just to see what's going to happen next. Radiance is a turn-based tactical RPG game, similar to games like Advanced Wars and Final Fantasy Tactics. Gameplay consists of moving your characters around 33 giant chest-like boards, all the while defeating enemies, staying alive, and accomplishing various tasks. While probably the easiest game in the series, it isn't exactly a walk in the park either. The AI can be rather smart even at the medium difficulty settings, but never unfairly so. It is vital to not leave a unit in a dangerous position at the end of the turn. Each map provides a nice variety of game changes, keeping them from becoming overly repetitive. In addition to the landscape, a large number of maps provide bushes, trees, and other obstacles which can aid or hinder a unit if they stand there. There are also a few maps that, when on the highest difficulty settings, have a fog of war effect, adding to the sense of unknown to the gameplay. Controls are simple and easy to pick up. You select the unit with the A button and use either the crosspad or the analog stick to move your unit around the map. There are no quick time events and no time limit for your turn, which allows the players the ability to take their time and plan out their moves. Each unit, including the enemies, have a set number of spaces that they can move each turn. The amount that can be moved varies on the class type and the terrain. The mounted units, for example, can move further than an on-foot unit, but is hindered greatly in mountain, desert, and swampy type maps. Under normal conditions, each character has the ability to move and use an action only once per turn, the exception being trading items with other units or talking to units, both of which allows you to take another action once able. If not used initially, mounted units have the ability to move the rest of their allocated amount after taking an action. All other units can only move before taking an action. Once all the units have moved, or if you choose to end your turn early, it then becomes the enemy's turn to control its players. A unit's action consists of attacking a foe, shoving them back a space, which is based on your unit's weight and class, rescuing an ally, which is also based on your unit's weight, using a single item, trading weapons and items, waiting, in essence ending that unit's turn, and for your hero character, direct, which gives basic commands to non-controllable units, and order, which is a way to automatically tell your units what to do for that turn. When attacking, the player will be shown how well they will fare in the skirmish. The green and red arrows shows which unit has the advantage based on the weapon. HP is the hit points of the players, MT is the damage they will do to each other, hit is the percentage chance of landing that blow, crit is the percentage chance of scoring a critical hit which will do more damage. Weapons come with a rock paper scissors like manner to them. Swords have the advantage over axes, which have the advantage over lances, which have the advantage over swords. There are also bows, staves, and scrolls thrown into the mix as well. They also have a durability level which decreases per hit, and will break when it falls to 0. Once a unit loses all their weapons, or has no weapon equipped, they cannot attack an enemy unit. There is no bare-fisted combat. In addition, some weapons like the bow can only be used from a distance, meaning it can't attack any unit right beside itself. There are also weapons like spears and hand axes, which can be used both close range and from a distance. Magic has its own triangle to deal with. Fire has the advantage over wind, which has the advantage over thunder, which has advantage over fire. In addition, each magic class has an advantage over certain class types. Example, wind magic has the advantage over most flying units. There is also a light magic class, which pretty much trumps the others, but there aren't really that many controllable units that can cast it. While often safer to cast from a distance, it can be used at close range as well. There are also some spells that can be used from very far away. I found these to be rather unhelpful, but they do work very well for the enemy, so be very careful when moving your low magic resistance characters around. There are two types of species in this fantasy world, Bjork and the Laguz. Bjork are your typical human race, and they come in many different classes, all with their own benefits and handicaps. Laguz are beings that can transform back and forth from a humanoid form with some animal traits to a full-fledged beast. The Laguz don't use any weapons and come in 3 different flavors. The beast tribe consists of cat-like creatures, the bird tribe, which contains hawks, ravens, and herons, and finally the dragon tribe, which of course transforms into a dragon. Throughout the game, you will have the option to have controllable units for each type of Laguz. Each tribe also has a weakness towards a certain type of magic. Beast tribe is weak against fire, bird tribe is weak against wind, dragon tribe is weak against lightning. And all tribes are pretty much weak against light magic, though there are some exceptions. The Laguz units have a meter during each map which controls your ability to transform. When in your humanoid form, you are rather defenseless and cannot attack. However, your meter will increase each turn. Once the meter reaches 20, you will be automatically transformed at the beginning of your turn. In addition to being lowered per turn, your meter will also decrease during combat, similar to the Bjork weapons. Once the meter hits 0, even during the enemy phase, you'll be forced back into your humanoid form. There are items that can be used in your humanoid form that will instantly increase your meter to 20 and be transformed. By default, when entering a battle, you will be taken into an animated fight scene which will play out the battle between the two units. This gets very annoying and you will probably want to turn off this feature after your first encounter. You do have the option to only turn on the animation for certain units as well, but it is probably better off to keep it off unless you are fighting something in which you really want to see acted out. When turned off, the battle will take place in the normal map view with some animation between the two characters. After each encounter, you'll be rewarded experience points based on your performance. Missing or being attacked nets fewer points than landing your blows. Killing a mob or a boss will grant you more than just damaging them. Units attacking far lower level units will also gain fewer points than normal. Your healers will gain experience using their staves. The amount given differs based on the stave's quality. Bonus XP is granted by accomplishing certain objectives on the map. This can be given to any unit before starting a map. For Bjork units only, at level 21, most characters will be promoted to their second tier class. This grants them a somewhat drastic increase in stats, new abilities and options, as well as 20 more levels to gain. There are also items called Master Seals, which allows you to promote your character to level 10 or higher. There are also a few characters that will only be promoted throughout the story progression, or will start off already promoted. In addition to unit experience, there is also weapon experience. The more a character uses a certain type of weapon or spell, the more it levels up. This allows the units to do more damage with the weapon, along with being able to wield better quality ones as well. You can also assign certain abilities to units. These items are attainable throughout the game, and some can differ depending on who you assign it to. Each unit has a limited number of ability points, and while they can be removed, they cannot be reassigned. So be careful when removing them from a character. In addition to keeping units alive, they have to be managed as well. It is important to always keep a ranged weapon in a unit's inventory when able, along with keeping a few pitch hitters equipped and leveled for some of the bigger maps. When your storage abilities become available around map 8, this is also when you are able to assign XP and abilities to units, you will be able to store weapons and items which can only be accessed before a battle. Also, and I think this is a first for the series, stores are only accessible before battles as well. Gold isn't that hard to find even on the hardest difficulties, so no worries there. There is a forging option that you can use once per map, but I found this to be a rather useless option. You can trade items between units before the map starts and during the combat when the units are next to each other. So it isn't a bad thing to have a unit who doesn't have a full inventory or a purpose on the map to act as a mule of sorts. Weapons and items are the only things that you have to manage. There is no armor to worry about. It is also important to watch out for drops when your unit has a full inventory, as you will be forced to discard one of your items, or the item that you're about to pick up, if that does indeed happen. As the game progresses, you will have the ability to control a large number of units facing off an ever-increasing number of enemy units. While there are some slightly better units than others, it is ultimately your choice on who you want to level. However, it is good to always have a variety of units out there on the field. Too many squishy characters or not enough ranged or mobile units could be a bad thing for success. A fantastic staple for the series is the fact that once a companion is dead, they are dead for good, and there aren't any save points on the map either. There are a few exceptions when the character is important to the story in which they just become unusable in combat, but there really is nothing like spending an hour clearing a map only to have a boss get a lucky shot in and kill one of your better units. Scattered throughout the game are a handful of cel-shaded animated cutscenes. While the animation isn't too bad to look at, the English voice acting isn't anything great, but hey, on the bright side, it is probably the best in the series so far.
Oh, missed.
Ike? Oh no!
All other dialogue is done with slightly animated cutouts of the characters and text boxes. Lots and lots of text boxes. While this isn't for everyone, it isn't really that big of a chore either. Personally, in my own opinion, I think it would take a lot away from the game to have it to be voice acted anyways. You can speed up the text output by holding down the A button, and for those that don't want to read or just want to get on to the next map, they are skippable by pressing the start button. With a few minor exceptions, there aren't any choices or branching paths to take in the story, and maps aren't replayable without going through the story again. Ike isn't a silent hero, giving him plenty of depth, and there is a companion system that allows you to further explore the side character stories while giving them a small stat boost based on your character's affinity type when they are close to each other on the map. Each character has a limited number of times that they can converse with an ally and only talk to a character again after spending a set amount of time close to each other during battle. It would be nice to have the ability to use the companion system without a stat boost just to hear what they have to say, but sadly you will have to look them up online or replay the game to explore all the different options. It is nice to give the side characters some depth, but it isn't worth replaying the game solely for that reason. Overall, this is a well put together game. Graphics, while nothing special, do exactly what they need to do and are nice on the eyes. Everything is clearly identifiable, and the effects of the environment are quite nice. Character models are unique enough to the point that it isn't hard to identify who is who. Their in-map animations are short and can be sped up if desired, and while the animated battle sequences are annoying due to just the sheer number of encounters, they aren't bad to look at either. The soundtrack is awesome and well done. This is especially nice on maps that can take hours to beat. My only real complaint, which is a very minor one, is that for whatever reason, the victory is near music, which plays when you defeat all your enemies but yet to complete the map, stops being an option early on in the game. Sound effects aren't anything special, but again, they do what they need to do. They can get annoying from time to time, but never to the point where you're going to want to shut them off. If you are interested in jumping into the series, this is a good place to start. If you are a fan of the tactical RPG genre, then this is a must play. However, if you can't stand having to read in your games or think strategy games like Civilization are boring, then you're going to probably want to stay away from this series. There isn't any multiplayer feature, which isn't a bad thing at all, and there isn't really any reason to replay from a story perspective, but this is one of those games that doesn't feel bad to pick up and play again from time to time. There are some bonus materials and modes that are unlockable, but it isn't all that great in my opinion. It really stinks that the Maniac mode was removed from the US version of the game and replaced with a far too easy mode, but I guess if you are just starting off to the series or new to the tactical RPG genre, the hard and medium difficulties are a good starting point. The game did have a limited release in the States, so it can be rather pricey to find even used, but there are some deals out there if you're willing to take a look. Just about every iteration of the series is up in the Virtual Console in Japan, so it is possible that we will see this on the Virtual Console for the Wii U at some point. This wraps up my review of Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. If you wish to know more about the game or just want to enjoy it without playing it, then please check out my Let's Play / walkthrough of the game. Please leave your comments about the game and or the review below. Until next time, God bless and thanks for watching.